Whilst recently rereading A Storm of Swords, a small passage grabbed my attention. A passage about Ned Stark's dream for spring, a plan that would have changed the North and revitalised the Night's Watch. For Ned Stark, the events of the books occurred very suddenly, and we know he didn't really want to go south and become Robert's Hand, but did so at the behest of Catelyn and his sense of honour. But this did get me thinking, if the events of the books didn't happen, what did Ned Stark want to achieve during his time as Lord of Winterfell? This also got me thinking about what would have happened to Jon Snow, as the main reason for him joining the Night's Watch was Ned heading south, and Catelyn not allowing Jon to stay at Winterfell. During Jon's last chapter in A Storm of Swords, as he's leaving to negotiate with the wildlings after the battle for the wall, I came across a small passage that gives some insight into Ned's plans, and what may have happened to Jon. I did what I usually do when I see these kind of things, and headed straight to Reddit and forums to build up some ideas of what other people have already discussed about the subject. As Jon is leaving the wall to negotiate with Mance Rayder and the wildlings after the battle, he recalls a plan Ned Stark had once told him. Ned had wanted to raise new lords in the north and settle them in the gift. The gift is made up of two parts: Brandon's gift, 25 leagues of land given to the Night's Watch by Brandon the Builder, and the new gift, an extension to Brandon's gift, given to the Night's Watch by Queen Alyssa Targaryen, wife and sister of King Jaehaerys Targaryen, when she visited the wall on a dragon Silverwing. The Night's Watch would have to agree to give back the land, but Benjen Stark, Ned's younger brother and a man of the Night's Watch, believed that Lord Commander Mormont could be won around, so long as the new lords raising the gift paid their taxes to Castle Black rather than Winterfell. The land could then be used to farm and raise livestock, as well as helping bring new life to the Night's Watch. As we know, nothing much came of Ned and Benjen's plan, as winter was nearing, and it was not likely, even with the promise of land, that it would lure men north, as winter was about to come. Ned had said to Jon it was a dream for spring, indicating that Ned and Benjen had every intention of pursuing this plan after winter and spring had come. Jon wonders to himself if winter had come and gone quicker and spring did in fact arrive, if his father might have chosen him to hold lands in the gift in his name. But with Eddard Stark dead and Benjen missing beyond the wall, their dream died with them. But this does get me thinking about what could have happened if this dream of spring had been fulfilled. The Night's Watch would get a new lease of life with the taxes and food produced in the gift. The area would also be better defended from wildling raiding parties, with the watchtowers manned and the possibility of new keeps being raised. At large, with lords sending their younger sons, or the creation of new lesser lords, for example raising the Cassels or the Pauls as a reward for their loyal service to House Stark. The North, as a whole, would have a lot more vested interest in the state of the gift and the Night's Watch. But what really gets me thinking here is Jon's idea that he may have been given some of the land to guard in his father's name. There's a lot of great theories out there for what Ned had planned for Jon. Some feel this was not him joining the Watch, as Ned seemed caught off guard and surprised by Maester Luwin's revelation of Jon's desire to join the Watch. One idea is that Jon would act as a similar function to a household knight in the south, but for Robb, when he became Lord of Winterfell. Another idea is that over time, Jon would become Master at Arms at Winterfell. But a big factor you have to consider is Catelyn, and how likely it is she would allow this. When it comes to raising new lords in the gift, Bran and Rickon would have to come before Jon. But I think it's likely Bran would have chosen to become a knight, or be married off to another northern family. The issue with Rickon is that unless Ned and Cat had more sons, he'd be needed as a last resort backup to Robb. So this does leave some opening for Jon here. I personally don't see Catelyn having an issue with this, as it gets Jon out of the way, but that is as long as Jon is a new lord rather than a Stark, in a similar fashion to how House Karstark came to be. I actually found a good post on the A Song of Ice and Fire subreddit, which I'll link below, which talks about what may have happened to the Stark children if Ned had not gone south. For Jon, it's speculated that he'd be given lands in gift, that Ned could have raised Jon as a new lord, creating a new house, taking its key from the Karstarks. The poster uses the name Grey Stark for this post, so that's what I'm going to use as well. As per Ned's plan, Jon would pay his taxes to the Watch, be a bad man to Winterfell, and Robb when the time came. The poster adds that perhaps Jon would marry Beth Cassel, the daughter of Rodrik Cassel, who perhaps himself could be raised as a lord, due to their decades of loyal service. Beth is also the niece of Martin Cassel, who fought alongside Ned at the Tower of Joy, the place of Jon's birth. Adding to that, the banner of House Cassel is a group of white wolves, so in a way it would kind of be fitting. I like this idea, because I feel it's more interesting than Jon simply staying at Winterfell and serving Robb, or still going to the wall, which I think still may have happened. However, I think Jon may have been older than he was in the books. I think the biggest issue we have with this idea of Jon becoming a Lord of the Gift, and the poster on Reddit's idea, is Catelyn. Would she still see Jon as a threat to her own children's rights? Even if Jon is raised as a new lord, creating a new house, and not legitimised as a true Stark, would that be enough for her to let it happen? Maybe. At the end of the day, Jon would still be out of sight and out of mind. What I find so intriguing about Ned Stark's dream for spring is the idea it's just that, a dream, wishful thinking in an ideal world. And as we know, the world George R.R. Martin has created is far from an ideal one. Most of what I've talked in this video is 100% pure speculation. Really, there's hardly any basis. As nice as the idea is, I still think it's most likely Jon probably would have ended up at the wall anyway. But the whole point is, I think it's fun to speculate about some of these things. If people find this video interesting, in the future I may look at how the lives of the other Stark children may have differed if Ned had stayed in the North. This is why I like George R.R. Martin's work so much. Even a tiny little passage like this, that seems like a throwaway piece of information, can create lots of speculation.